We are live. We are live. So far, I don't see any viewers connected.
Can I hear? But see, there's not one.
Yeah. I tested this computer yesterday, so we were good to go.
So you gotta have light coming in.
Let's see if anyone joins us today.
Still, okay, so this has to come like this. More straight. Let's be tall.
So, my name is Sarah, and I am Dr. Lois Laynee's assistant, and I would just like to welcome you to our restorative sleep presentation. We are going to go through an hour or so of presentation on informing you on how to discover the secrets to restorative sleep. If you would like to ask questions during the presentation, please feel free to post them on our Restorative Breathing Facebook page or tweet those questions at Lois_Laynee, and we will get to those questions during or after the presentation. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Miss Dr. Lois Laynee, and she will take you through the restorative sleep process.
You can start the PowerPoint. Okay, so start with you have to put it on. Hello. So the key to sleep is something that eludes most of us. The reality is if you can't sleep, your next day is pretty crappy. So when it gets to be bad enough, it ends up robbing us of our lives. And so I am here to share with you some of the keys to get going that you can do right after this presentation that can help you to sleep tonight. So the first thing we're going to go through is what is the purpose of the Laynee Restorative Breathing Method? It is to create harmony within the body. What most people don't understand is we look at diseases. Insurance has changed our lives to where we focus on an ICD-9, it's ICD-10 now, that it labels what a dysfunction is, therefore we must have a treatment or a surgery or a drug. But it all starts with one ingredient. When oxygenation decreases in our body, our entire body is in stress. We talk about the stress of life, but it starts with oxygen. If you don't have the absolutely ignitable power of oxygen with every breath in your body is in disharmony, which turns into disease, dysfunction, and most of all, exhaustion. So that's what I created, is how we can get our bodies to naturally give us maximum oxygenation. If you have questions during this time, as Sarah had said, this is how you can contact us. You can do it through the Restorative Breathing Facebook page, and at the presentation at the end, we'll give you our email and, of course, the website, Restoring Breathing. So most people don't think about breathing. If I tell people, what do you do? Well, I teach people how to breathe. The first thing that happens is people laugh, because it's really kind of crazy, isn't it? We have to teach you how to breathe. But the reality is Just because you're breathing doesn't mean you're alive. It means you're barely sputtering along. So I consider it warning. You need to know that if you're not breathing efficiently, it is the first and the most impactful thing that creates hazards to your health. It is absolutely hazardous. What I created with the Laynee Restorative Breathing Method is its compatibility to any modality. Whether you're an ENT, whether you're a homemaker, whether you're a child educator, whether you're an exercise physiologist, or whether you're a person who wants more from your life, this is designed to be applied to anything. So you can add it to your meditation. You can add it to how you drive a car. You can add it before you exercise. It doesn't matter. As long as you start with what I teach you, whatever it is you want to do, you do, and then you end with it. This will give your brain maximum oxygenation so your brain can function for you optimally. So what I want you to do right now is check your body. Check it out. Find some place in your body that you don't feel positive about. Let's suppose your shoulders hurt, your neck, hips, knees, ankles, something. So give it a number from 1 to 10, 10 meaning it causes a lot of discomfort, 0 meaning there's no discomfort. So of course we would love for you to find a 5 or a 6 somewhere in your body. So when you have that, find it, make a mental note of it, and now we're going to do a little exercise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you the lowest breathing method, and we're going to time it for 1 minute, and I'll time it for you. The first thing we want to do is the L for lowest is for lips together. So when you're ready, gently lick your lips and let your lips gently touch each other. The O is you're going to make an O shape behind your mouth with your teeth apart. So an O shape is behind your lips, your teeth are apart, and your tongue is going to go up and touch the roof of your mouth. Now, if your tongue isn't proficient at doing that, just take a moment, wiggle your tongue, get your tongue up there. As your tongue goes up, sometimes your teeth will touch, so just gently take a moment, separate your teeth. Now you're in the LO position. Now we're going to add breathing. So I want you to breathe in, and I want you to breathe out only through your nose. So again, your lips may want to come apart, your tongue may want to come down, so hang in there, keep your lips together, put your tongue up, and then we're going to add the S. S is for silently breathing through your nose. So when you're ready, I want you to take 2 fingers and close off your ears. Don't stick your fingers in your ears, just close off your ears. Keep your eyes open. I'm going to time you for 60 seconds. So I want you to go and breathe silently. Lips together, tongue up, and just breathe. Okay, it's been a minute. Unplug your ears. Immediately recheck the area that you were evaluating and give it a number now. What is that number? So typically, probably 80% of the population, your number is going to go down typically by half. So if your shoulders were giving you a discomfort level of a 6, you can technically experience a 3. The same thing that can happen is you can go to a little bit of anxiety. So about 1 person out of 10 will notice a little bit of anxiety. And typically that anxiety could come from breathing through your nose, is you may actually have narrowing of your airway system. So if you've had a deviated septum, then the air sometimes cannot easily pass through that. That can be a significant health risk, is to have a deviated septum, which would limit the nasal passages from working for you. So you've got to be able to breathe through your nose silently in order to have maximum oxygenation throughout your whole body. So if you can't, you may want to consider looking for an ENT or having a diagnostic test to see what's going on in your capacity to breathe through your nose. But the majority of us are going to notice a significant change in your ability to breathe. So again, what we're going to go through is, why should you do lowest breathing? When your lips are together, you're going to create pressure that's going to keep your airway system pressurized so that your nose will work more efficiently for you. The tongue up actually helps to open up your airway system that goes behind your tongue. So if the air can flow through easier throughout your entire airway system, you're going to be a more efficient breather. Most importantly, all of the cells in your body are going to get saturated with more oxygen. When I've asked you to do the I part for inhaling and exhaling only through your nose is going to, as we're going to find out shortly, provide an entire different biochemical system to give you better oxygenation to your cells. The S in lowest breathing is again for silent. When you get to silent, that means the air can easily flow through your passageways, whether you have a small airway, a medium-sized airway, or a large airway. You want to be able to do it slowly. Now, the last thing we're going to add is a swallow. So I'm going to have you do that again. Lick your lips, let your lips touch together, get your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, but create an O shape so your teeth are always apart. And now what we're going to do is have you inhale and then exhale. And this time I want you to, when you're done exhaling, see if you can swallow. So what most people don't know is you should be able to swallow whenever you think about it. When you swallow, your teeth should not move. Your mandible should not have to move as you swallow. If your tongue's on the roof of your mouth, all the biomechanics for you to breathe are available. So the good news is, if swallowing is difficult for you, then you have a great opportunity to strengthen some muscles, which will help you breathe. Why is that important for sleep? Because if those muscles aren't organized, if they're not strong and they're not coordinated, you will snore. And when you snore, you are depriving your body of oxygen. And so your brain doesn't get to do what it needs to do at night, and you don't have a restorative breathing. So make sure that as you practice this with lowest breathing, that at the end of your exhalation, you should be able to keep your eyes open and you should be able to easily swallow. So we were talking, why should we make sure that you could breathe through your nose? Well, the first thing you need to know is your nose is attached to your brain. I know it sounds kind of hokey that people don't think about it that way, but that's the reality of it. So your right brain drives your right nostril. Your left brain drives your left nostril. So what happens is your brain doesn't get to function optimally if you have a deviated septum and air can't flow through one side of your nose. It's going to change how your brain works. And this is disastrous in a child. This is absolutely changing growth and development of the brain if that child cannot breathe through both sides of the nose. It's also going to change any type of sleep pattern. So for any person in the country, in the world, if you can't breathe through both sides of your nose, your body can't make your hormones for you. That happens at night. Your muscles aren't going to heal. That happens only at night. So your healing capacity of just being alive and doing your daily activities is minimized if you can't breathe through both sides of your nose equally, independently. That's the way the brain and the body was designed to function. And if it can't do that, That's the beginning of all disease. So now when we go into how the body likes to work, if both sides of the nose can work, is it goes back and forth. So your right brain and your left brain are going to alternate. The brain has this signal pattern. So the right nostril will work for a while, and then the left nostril will work for a while. And when this happens, right and left brain, we call it whole brain communication. When that happens, learning is easy. Sleep is easy. And your body is truly a Ferrari. It can do anything. It is fast. It is just fluid. So that's why, again, both sides of the nose need to work. So the other thing the nose has is it is a filter. Have you ever looked outside or even inside and seen all the special little fuzzies in the air? Well, if you don't get to filter that out, it goes straight in your body. And when that happens, disease occurs. And it's a huge drain on your immune system. Not to mention, it's going to change your digestion. So the other thing the nose does, it actually warms up the air. So when air is warmer, it can carry oxygen easier. Again, we're creating an efficient system. The other thing it does is it moisturizes and humidifies. Last thing, it smells. So your nose is attached to the brainstem part of your brain. And if your brainstem cannot feel air going in and out through both sides of your nose, then your brainstem is under duress. That's called fight, fright, and freeze. So if from a medical term, it can cause deregulation of your autonomic nervous system. And again, that does not allow you to sleep. If your body is in fight and fright, you are not sleeping, you are not healing, you're not learning, and thinking and decision making is definitely limited. So if your nose isn't working, your brain is under significant stress. So what's the alternative to nose breathing? Oh my gosh, it's mouth breathing. Well, mouth breathing used to be a diagnostic code, and it used to be a significant diagnostic observation. If you are mouth breathing, any physician before 1960, they knew instantaneously you were going to have a harder life. Learning was going to be difficult. Sleeping was going to be difficult. Your moods were going to be moody. And your hormone production was going to be minimized. Why? Because when air is going in and out of your mouth, there is no filtration system. Most people don't think about it, but let's take it to your house. What would it be like if 20 years you never changed your air filter? You think people would be getting sick in your house? You think it may not smell too good? What about your car? Oh, let's take away your air filter and that oil filter. How many miles do you think you'd get out of that awesome car? You wouldn't. So when you're breathing through your mouth, there is no filtration system. With every breath, you're breathing 30,000 times a day. That's millions and millions times every year. You are destroying your body simply by breathing through your mouth. Your digestion has no chance of being normal. Your digestion, your entire digestive tube is now going to try to pretend like it is an immune system and trying to ward off all these little invaders. So instead of digesting your food, all it's trying to do is fight off these foreign elements. That's not peace and harmony, digestion and resting, is it? No. Now the internal dimension of your body is at war with every breath. It's a huge deal. The second thing is it doesn't warm up. So when the air comes in through the mouth, it's not warm. So your body has to now warm it up, which takes time. So the efficiency for it to air, for the oxygenation dimension, is going to be decreased. And then that poor brainstem, if it doesn't smell, it has a very significant impact on your brain and its ability to smell. It's a sense. So if the sense isn't working, Your brain is under stress. So we have this wonderful thing called teeth stabilization. This is part of the lowest breathing protocol. So you can go to Starbucks and get one of those very special little coffee lids, twizzle dudes, whatever you want to call it. You can bite on that. You can bite on a tongue depressor. You could use a straw. You want to do something to stabilize your teeth as you practice lowest breathing at home. This is very important so that that tongue can move easily to keep your airway open in the back of it. And we're going to do something to turn on your nose. So get ready. You need to find something to put between your teeth. So look around your house, go grab something. Worst case scenario, put a pen between your teeth. And what I'm going to teach you to do is called same side nasal breathing. So remember how I told you we've got to get the nose working. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your thumb, and most people smash the nose. We're not smashing the nose. This nose is so important to work. We got to get it working easily and efficiently. So you're going to take the pad of your thumb and gently, absolutely gently, come from the bottom and create a little bitty tiny seal, as you can see in the picture, from the bottom up. So you've got something between your teeth, you've got something closing off at the end, because inside your nose you have these little valves, and these valves have to work in order for you to breathe. So please don't smush your nose. All right, as you notice in the picture, the eyes are open. So do not close your eyes. Your brain needs to have your eyes open in order to learn. So look at something colorful if you can, because that kind of keeps your brain entertained while we're teaching it to do something new. So you're going to go into the lowest position. Your lips are together. Your tongue is going to be up on the roof of your mouth. Your teeth are going to be holding something to create stability. And now you've got one nostril gently closed off. And what I want you to do is breathe in for 3. 1, 2, 3, and hold. Now I want you to breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to breathe in again. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, and hold. And then I want you to breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want you to swallow. Keep your eyes open and wait for your swallow. Now we're going to add a hum. I want you to breathe in. 1, 2, 3, and pause. And I want you to breathe out. 1, 2. Now I want you to hum. And when you're done humming, I want you to keep your eyes open and swallow. If it takes a moment for you to swallow, keep breathing through your nose. And when you're done swallowing, gently switch hands. Go to the other side. And when you're ready, we're going to breathe in again. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, and hold. Now breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in again. 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and swallow. Now we're going to add a hum. When you're ready, breathe in. 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe out. 1, 2, add a hum. Hum as loud as you can, as strong as you can. At the end of your hum, wait for your swallow. If it takes a minute, just keep breathing through your nose while you wait for your swallow. Now take your finger off your nose, and I want you just to breathe. So typically what people have noticed is they can breathe in a little bit easier. If you've had some inflammation up in your nose, for whatever reason, don't worry about why right now, then you're actually going to get more oxygen to one side of your brain. And if you do this, you're going to wake up your right side of the brain independently. Then you're going to wake up the left side of your brain independently. And now as you're breathing through both sides of your nose, just by having airflow through your nose, you're going to be organizing your brain. So parents, you can do this for children. It's so simple. And sometimes this organization is something that they don't have. When they don't have this, learning is harder, reading is harder, math is harder. And in your gut, you know that your child is struggling. There's not a lot of things that we could call are like wrong. So it's not like they're not smart or anything else, but they do have to work harder because they're a little bit less organized. So you can do this to babies. You can gently hold one side of the nose, hold the lips, and let the brain just work through one side of the nose and then go to the other side. So sometimes people yawn after we do this. And what that is the body is resetting the biochemistry of breathing. Things are getting more organized. And the more organized you are, it'll be so much easier for you to sleep. So this is something that I want you to do at least 3 times a day. In the perfect world, I want you to do it 1 time sitting, 1 time standing, and then do it laying down before you go to sleep at night. So we're actually organizing your brain to breathe through the nose and get things going. Now, what I also have here to show you is you need to go on Amazon and buy a neti stick. And you're going to now stick your neti stick up your nose while you do the same side nasal breathing. When you do this, it's going to help even further dilate your nasal passages, so airflow is going to be easier and more efficient. That's something that your body will totally appreciate you for. You can do this again 3 or 4 times a day. If you feel like this is a little bit strong, that means that you've got a lot more inflammation up your nose. And when that area is inflamed, it means the tube size for you to breathe through is smaller. That's something we don't ever want to happen. We want you to have the biggest airway possible. So breathing does not take your energy. Breathing gives you energy. So the question is, what is optimal breathing? Well, there's some mechanics involved in optimal breathing. Your eyes should be level with the floor. When that happens, it is easier and your body's going to be more aligned to where you're going to have a better airway function. Your lips are together in a posture rest without any strain. So if you have to just use all your muscles in your face to hold your lips together, that's a lot of strain on your body. Your body should not have to work at letting your lips go together. Your nasal breathing should always be established in all body positions. So wherever you move, if you sit or stand, just check yourself. Can my lips stay together? Can I breathe through my nose? This sometimes has to be retrained. Maybe you had a car accident. Maybe you had a concussion. Maybe you just bumped your head. Maybe you had surgery. Any of those things will change your brain's ability to signal properly to breathe rhythmically. So the next thing that people don't know is breathing should be silent. When you are at rest, when you are gently moving, when you're sitting, you should never hear yourself breathe. When that happens, your body is stressed out from and to breathe. So people think environments make people stressful. Typically, it's positions. Certain positions, there's pressure on your airway system to where it's significantly harder to breathe. Also, breathing should be rhythmical. You should be able to breathe in for 3, and you should be able to gently breathe out for 6 when you think about it. Your neck and shoulder muscles are also at rest. So if you look at yourself in the mirror, just notice how much of your neck is moving when you breathe, how much of your shoulders are moving when you breathe. And remember, this is at rest. So if that happens, your body is burning up so much energy just trying to breathe, and that can exhaust you. So sometimes just getting the right muscles to work for breathing allows you to sleep better, because when you want to go into REM sleep and you're a chest breather and a neck breather and a shoulder breather, that doesn't allow you to go into REM sleep. Your biomechanics are firing the wrong muscles. Your diaphragm is what should be on the alert to do 100% of the job 24/7. When your diaphragm is fully engaged, Your neck does not have a job to do. Neither do your shoulders. Those are designed for your arm and your head, not for breathing. So there's a misconception that your neck and shoulders are going to participate in it. No, it is dysfunctional. Your diaphragm needs to be your primary breather. When it's moving, your shoulders and neck are at rest. What this translates to is when you lay down and you want to go to sleep, that diaphragm should do the job that allows you to go into REM sleep, where your body has the opportunity to be restored every night. So now we're going to go into dysfunctional breathing. Check yourself as you walk around during the day. Where are your eyes? Are your eyes focused down at your feet? When you sit down, do you have that text angle going on? Are you your chin down and your eyes going down? Your airway doesn't have a chance to function for you if you're always looking down. Get that chin up. Get those eyes parallel with the floor when you walk, when you move, and even when you text. You can do it. Lift your hands up. It's going to burn some energy and create some muscles. So the other thing you want to check are your lips apart when you're at rest or when you begin movement. If you start to move and your lips open up, that's something that's very easy for you to reset. Your lips can be gently trained to stay together and for you to exhale when you start to move. That way your nose is working for you and you can create proper body mechanics. The other thing is mouth breathing is present. Notice how many people breathe through your mouth. The funny part, people used to say what? Close your mouth, you don't want a fly to go in there. Well, it's more important. Close your mouth so that you can have the best health ever. Close your mouth so that you can sleep with a restored breathing when you wake up at night. Breathing also is noisy. We have now come to expect that almost everyone is going to make noise when they breathe. That is not still functional breathing. Breathing should never be noisy. Noisy means that you have dysfunction and significant inflammation and your airway is too small. That's something that we can change. The first thing I did was teach you how to breathe through both sides of your nose, one at a time, and then you can go onto Amazon and get a neti stick and then use that. That neti stick is going to help dilate your nasal passages so you can breathe optimally. The other thing, pay attention. Breathing, sometimes you can notice it's irregular. Sometimes people sigh. Sometimes people gasp. And sometimes people even notice that they like to hold their breath. So these are patterns that the brain has gotten stuck into for many reasons. So again, I've given you a tool to where you can reset that on your own. It's very simple. However, it can be very profound. The last thing about dysfunctional breathing is, again, remember, dysfunctional breathing uses your neck or your shoulders, and that's not the way we want it. So what I want you to pay attention to now is the size of your airway. So one of my specialties is craniofacial development, and as the head and neck develop properly and that tongue goes to the roof of your mouth so that airway can stay open and grow, you're going to be able to create an airway that is of optimal size. Optimal size, we would love to have a 12 millimeter airway. So I want you all to go pay attention to how big straws are and how big tubes are. Most of the clients I take care of, they have the size of the airway that's on the left side of your screen that has a 3 millimeter airway. That is the size of a coffee straw. If that is your situation, you will have noisy breathing. You will have symptoms of depression. Why are you depressed? Because your brain can't have enough oxygen. Your brain's going to malfire. It's going to dysfunction. Your whole body is always going to be in a swirl of dis-ease. If it's left long enough and the body doesn't get enough oxygen, you will have a very struggled life. Your children will struggle. Sleep will always be disturbed. And then the thing about sleep being disturbed is it's misinterpreted. Oh, Johnny doesn't want to stay in his bed. Well, do you know most of the time Johnny's scared out of his brain because he stopped breathing during the night, I would run to my mom too to try to breathe. See, we interpret all this. Our bodies will struggle and do anything it can to ensure breathing. Breathing is the foundation of everything. So perhaps instead of thinking your child is a brat, have compassion that maybe their airway is too small and they can't breathe. Do you know that if a small airway is hugely related to bedwetting? People don't know that. It's not that they're being a brat or they're being obstinate. They can't breathe. And that's information that parents need to know. We need to help our children breathe. When we get the tongue to move properly, we get the airway to grow properly, we get breathing reorganized, let's give our children the possibility to grow their airways to 12 millimeters so they can perform, they can learn, they can sleep, and most importantly, the quality of life is definitely improved. So why does all this matter? I talk about the brain, I talk about the airway. This is a PET scan that shows you about brain activity. These are facts. We breathe between 20 and 25,000 times a day. If you mouth breathe, which I already told you about all the bad things that happen with mouth breathing, you have to breathe faster. So if you're breathing faster than optimal breathing, which is 6 to 8 breaths a minute, your oxygen levels to your brain are diminished. It's technically called hyperventilation, and your brain is half alive. And you wonder why you're in brain fog. You wonder why you forget your keys. You wonder why you forget an appointment. You wonder why your kids are stressed out. And maybe even wonder why your husband forgot his anniversary. Maybe the brain you're living with is the brain on the right. That's not a lot of blood flow. Are you alive? Yes. Are you thriving? No. No, you're not. I took care of a client who spent over $18,000 in the emergency room. He was sure he was having a heart attack. He was 40 years old and he couldn't believe it. Chest pains, arm pain, just debilitated, weak, anxiety. After visiting them for 6 hours and having every test run in the book, the only thing they could think of was hyperventilation. All we did was take an x-ray. He couldn't breathe through his nose, not his left side or his right side. After nasal surgery, he's out there doing anything he wants. You must be able to breathe through your nose so blood flow can permeate every cell in your brain. Your brain is connected to 1 trillion neurological connections through your whole body. And if they don't have oxygen, they only have one option. It's called malfunction. So most of us, if you are breathing fast, check your respiration. If you're breathing faster than 18 breaths a minute, you got the brain on the right. And that is a hard life. So I gave you a tool. Get a neti stick. Do same side nasal breathing. If you're struggling in your life, my God, do nasal breathing once an hour. That neti stick's going to cost you about $10. I think you can afford it. Get in there, do some same side nasal breathing. Give your brain the oxygen it deserves. So remember, this is how you're going to do it. Your lips are going to be together. The O in Lois is to shape your mouth in the shape of an O. Your tongue is up. Your teeth are always apart. Always. You're going to inhale and exhale only through your nose. You're going to make it silent or slow. So let's go through this. Look at your lips. Can your lips touch together? Or when you relax, do your lips not want to touch? Can you still see your teeth? Well, here's some of the reasons why that might be. You could have a little piece of skin that's holding your lips too close to your jawbone, and it's called a frenum. So if you look from the side, you can see how that lip is actually getting pulled toward the nose. Sometimes if those frenums are too short or they grew in the wrong place, that can actually change the nasal septum and your ability to breathe through your nose. So you can easily peek in there. Now this surgery, which is incredibly minor, has been a lost art over the last 35 years. It used to be released at birth so babies could easily nurse and they could easily breathe. Because 30 years ago, it was common knowledge that you needed to breathe through your nose. Now, after insurance has deemed that mouth breathing is equal to nasal breathing, of course there's no science to support that. But you know, insurance companies, they love to cover everything to allow us to have the optimal quality of life. All right, that was a joke. That's not really what they do. So they have eliminated this concept that nasal breathing is better than mouth breathing. So it goes back to these little frenums. If they're pulling the lips apart, then you can't keep your lips together. And that's something that we can take care of very easily. The next thing you want to look at is in the back of your throat. If you're mouth breathing, you're going to have swollen tonsils. So there's always this controversy. Which came first, the swollen tonsils or the mouth breathing? My experience is that the frenums came first. Because if the frenums are going to hold the lips open, the lips are going to keep the lip apart posture, which allowed all that air with its total filth to go down your throat and make your body work overtime just to fight off this invader. Remember, you breathe 20 to 30,000 times a day, and a baby breathes twice that much. So a poor little baby is breathing about 22 million times a year, and if they're breathing through their mouth, their tonsils and adenoids don't have a choice but to get swollen and inflamed. So we can do that same side nasal breathing that I taught you earlier. Get that nose working, buy a neti stick, and a lot of times those tonsils can decrease on their own because your body is going to get oxygen so it can start the healing process. So I want you to pay attention to your family members. Do they walk around with their eyes looking up? Do they walk around with their eyes looking down? Are their mouths always open? Do you see their shoulders move when they breathe? What about their tongues? Are their tongues always out? Can they put their tongue on the roof of their mouth? Can they keep their lips together? So once we fix the nose and we train the tongue to do its job, we can get the nose to work and the lips go together. What about a small child? When a child is breathing through the mouth, it's going to change the way the face grows. Most importantly, it decreases the size of the airway. And that's something that people need to know on children. We can support to help them grow the strongest airway system. Now we're going to go to the O shape. So in your mouth, you have these little bumps behind your teeth, and those are called rugae. So your top of the tip of your tongue should be able to touch those little bumpy spots. Then you have a middle part of your tongue that should be able to touch the middle part of the roof of your mouth. And then the back of your tongue should be able to come up and touch the back part. Why do we care if your tongue can go up to the roof in your mouth? The tongue pumps the nasal cavity to breathe. It pumps the sinus cavities to drain. Your body, once it is pumping, you should have sinus cavities that produce a lot of liquid. So typically, once this tongue starts to go to the roof of the mouth, people notice postnasal drip. Guess what? It's supposed to work that way. So if it feels odd to have that draining in the back, then your body hasn't had a natural draining system. The other thing, when your tongue goes to the roof of the mouth, it stimulates your pituitary gland. Why is that important? because your pituitary gland is your master hormone. You can see it up there. It is directly above where the back of your tongue should go. And it pumps it and pumps it. And this gives your hormone. It's the master hormone. It runs the show. So if your tongue is up on the back of the roof of your mouth, you're going to be able to have a better stable airway. You're going to be able to sleep better, and you're going to have better hormone production. There's another thing that happens when the tongue goes up in the back of the roof of the mouth, is it stabilizes the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve, I want you to go out there and study it if you don't know the significance of it. It is your master nerve that runs whether you sleep and digest. It's your rest and digest dimension. It is everything to do with how you think. Are you organized or are you sporadic? So if your tongue sits down in your mouth, you have lost what nature designed for you to have a stable brain, a stable airway, a stable nervous system, a stable ability to digest your food, and most importantly, your ability to sleep all night long uninterrupted. Most people don't know that they should be able to sleep 6 hours uninterrupted. Now, I'm not saying about moms with newborns, but I am talking about the rest of us. You should be able to sleep 6 hours straight through without any interruptions. That's what your body should do for you. So now we're going to look underneath your tongue, and you're going to be able to see sometimes there's these little frenums that are pulling your tongue in a downward position so your tongue can't get up there. So if your tongue can't get to the roof of your mouth, your body doesn't get to function optimally from a breathing, sleeping, hormone production, and nervous system stability. The other thing we want to remember as you're going through your day, always make sure that your teeth are apart. So your teeth need to be apart so that your tongue can go up and that your airway system can breathe easier. We talked about breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. There's many exercise programs that come up with all these other things to do. And while that may be their dimension, from a physical dimension, a neurological dimension, and a proper biochemistry dimension, you need to breathe out through your nose. We can change human performance. We can help athletes. The endurance and the recovery is phenomenal when you breathe in and out exclusively through your nose. Why? Because if I'm breathing in and out through my mouth, every time I exhale, I'm going to get the balloon on the left side. You are going to have a flattened balloon. The air comes out. That balloon is supposed to represent your alveoli sacs in your body. You have to keep the pressure, lip together posture pressure, to keep those alveoli sacs continuous pressurized with oxygen and air so that as you breathe, your exchange of oxygen is incredibly efficient. That's what we want. Nasal breathing is efficient. Do you want an efficient body, or do you want a body that sputters and doesn't produce for you? So people also think about nasal breathing. They go, you know, mouth breathing, it's so common. Right, it is common because disease is the new norm. Mouth breathing is dysfunctional. Nasal breathing is nature. It is natural. Look at mammals. Mammals will breathe. Look at horses. Do you see a horse in a horse race with its mouth open? Never. Vets know that once a horse starts to mouth breathe, they are usually eliminated. Why? Because they are dysfunctional and disease is going to occur. We talk about exertion. That's the next thing people say. Wow, under exertion, I need to breathe through my mouth. No, you don't. Look at a horse. Under exertion, it jumps over a 6-foot fence. Once your body is trained properly and you increase your efficiency, your hormone production is stellar because you're sleeping all night long. you can continue to nasal breathe throughout no matter how much exertion you want from your body. So the next thing we're going to talk about is absorption of oxygen. Inhalation is when air goes through the airway tube. It goes to the lungs for absorption of oxygen into the blood. So that's why I have you breathe in only for the count of 3. You don't need to overbreathe in. That is the most common mistake people are stuck in. And that's usually an injury, a head injury, a trauma injury, surgery injury. You are stuck in a neurological pattern of over inhalation. You only need to breathe in for the count of 3 through your nose. Then what you do is when you actually exhale is when oxygen gets delivered to the tissues and most importantly to the brain. This takes a little bit extra time. The oxygen has to go to the blood and then the tissues. So our exhalation needs to double the time we take for inhalation. So there's a time factor to allow the biochemical and the biomechanical processes to occur. So remember, breathing in allows air to go in the lungs. Breathing out is when you get the exchange of oxygen and CO2. So the other thing we need to know about is why is it so important to breathe through your nose? Well, it's called nasal respiration. When you breathe through your nose, you also activate your sinuses. The sinuses where you also produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is essential for efficient muscle function, brain function, and oxygen efficiency. Do you know it can increase your oxygenation by 18%? All you have to do is breathe through your nose, and you can expect your body to improve how it functions by 18%. So you can get a better brain, or you can get a new set of muscles. Depends on what you want from your body. So what we have to offer you is a nasal breathing home care protocol. We utilize clear nasal spray because we got a whole bunch of things to clean up in most people's noses. It hasn't been used properly for a long time. You can get all these things at Amazon. So clear nasal spray has xylitol in it, which helps to create a natural environment for the bacteria and everything to be populated properly. You want to do it at least 5 times a day to get started. After 2 to 3 weeks, you can get it down to 3 times a day. So you're going to use it in the morning, in the evening, and bedtime. Another product you can get is white flour. It is an oil, and it helps to dilate your nasal passages. I also talked about the neti stick. The neti stick is the demo that I showed you about how to put it up your nose. You want to use your neti stick 3 times a day. You can use it gently on babies. You just hold it at the end of their nose. I have moms who use it continuously to help change their child from a mouth breather to a nasal breather. You can do it on your child at nighttime if they have challenges using it during the day. But persevere, mom. You want your child to have 18% more oxygenation the first day, I bet. So after that, you can use nasal strips, breathe right nasal strips to help train your nose to stay open. You also need to treat the back of your mouth. So that's why you need to use some xylitol mouthwash that you can gargle with it back there morning and night. That's going to help change the tissues, because if you've been mouth breathing, that's not going to be, the tissue back there isn't going to be optimally healthy. You also can get Rain oral throat spray. It's the same product. It's got xylitol in it. You can use that during the day if you speak for a living. If you talk a lot and you've noticed you're a mouth breather, that will help create a texture in your mouth so that the bacteria doesn't stick as much. And at the end, there's Sprite toothpaste. You want to coat your teeth with xylitol in your gums. It fights gum disease, tooth decay. Most importantly, helps create a natural lining in your mouth. And why did we talk about silent breathing again? Breathing should always be silent because it means the air is not rubbing on the sides of the airway. Because if the air is having resistance in your body, then you don't get the same absorption of oxygen. And remember the brain, it doesn't get the same amount of oxygenation. Most importantly, you're going to get a removal of CO2. So what you can do is get some little tiny disposable earplugs, and you can plug your ears on your own. That way your fingers don't have to hold your ears together. You can also practice 1 minute of silent lowest breathing, like I showed you, like that we did at the beginning. You will oxygenate your body. You will have more range of motion of your muscles. You will be prepared to sleep better. You will be prepared to think better. Your pain will be decreased. Your mental clarity will be improved. Your whole body will be oxygenated. The saturation goes up, and most importantly, toxins come out. So remember, get your body to silent breathing. Unless you have an x-ray, you don't know. If you're one of those people with a 3-millimeter airway, remember, that's the size of a coffee straw, or a 12-millimeter airway. That's the size of a decent-sized tube. Because the bigger the tube, air goes in, but most importantly, waste products come out. So if you're into detox and you want to have a really good nutrition and you're taking, greens and all these things, while that's admirable, the most efficient detox is breathing. Remember, it takes longer for oxygen to process and go into the tissues and the waste products come out. So when you breathe silently, your breathing's going to slow down so your body can be more efficient so the toxins can come out. Remember, breathe in for 3, breathe out for 6. Can you swallow? That's important. So for yourself, you can always check your breathing during the day. Is it noisy or is it quiet? Go ahead and check your nose. Can you feel air that's going through one side of your nose or the other? Does one side feel restricted? Remember, your brain switches left side and right side of your nose, so one of them will always be easier, but you shouldn't feel restricted. One should just be easier. And even when you do anything during your day, you can always stop and do that same side nasal breathing exercise. Now, when you sleep, we use a product called IntelliBed because it can be mapped to give you the ultimate support. So as your body is laying in bed, it can keep your airway aligned. It can take care of the pressure of your shoulders and your knees and your hips so that your airway is stable. Everything we do is to create the best stability of your airway, keeping that aligned when you lay down. So if you have any questions about an IntelliBed, please feel free to call us or connect us, as we're going to have up in a minute. You can also go out there on the web and check out IntelliBed. They have awesome science. They have a 30-year durability warranty. They don't have any toxins in their environment, and they even have a wonderful crib mattress that helps as babies and kids move. It helps to resettle them. So it helps to settle the nervous system for children. They need a stable airway just as much as you and I do. So to better sleep, the most important thing I can offer you is oxygen support. I gave you a nasal breathing protocol. I taught you how to do lowest breathing. You can do it for 1 to 3 minutes. You need to go out and purchase those disposable earplugs. And then no equipment needed, same side nasal breathing. Make sure you can do that. Can you do it standing? Can you do it sitting? Do it once before you go to bed. That's 3 times a day. If you do all of that, it could honestly take you 5 to 10 minutes. So that's the question. Do you have 5 to 10 minutes to give your body the best oxygen so you can be the best you can be? Remember, you need support. And IntelliBed offers optimal support, better than anything I have found. The other thing you need to do for your brain is make sure all the lights are out. You need a totally dark room to sleep. Once you can breathe and you've got support, your brain isn't distracted by any light, you can sleep all night long. And most importantly, you can sleep silently. If you have questions, you can contact us. We do sleep boot camps, we do private Skype sessions, and in our office in Surprise, Arizona, we see clients personally. Our website is Restoring Breathing, and our phone number is 480-550-8000. If you have any questions, let us know. It's been a pleasure and hope you have a great night. Stop sharing. You were in video call.